Hello everyone, and welcome to this new episode of the show. So every week we interview live social entrepreneurs who are tackling a cause with the power of business. And this week we have the pleasure to be joined by Kareen and Will, who are the co-founders of Companion and Co. So hi to you both. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
So you're all the way in New Zealand. I'm based in Turkey, and Danielle, my co-founder, is in Canada. So I think with the three of us, we cover a lot of different geographic zones. But it's so cool that the internet allows us to connect today. And actually, just as an introduction, I would love for you to let us know what is Companion and Co about, and why. What's your why behind it? Why did you started it?
You go. You start.
So Companion Co is a food design company that we create dance and school with former refugees here in New Zealand. Yeah.
And the why, we're just really into the increasing diversity that here in New Zealand we're experiencing with more and more migration, some of that being refugees and other forms of migration as well. And sometimes there's some political questions that are asked around whether that's good or not for our country, and we firmly believe that it is. So this is a way of us recognising and retaining the craft skills that are carried here on migration, but also celebrating what is coming into New Zealand through migration as well, in terms of not only crafts and like creative skills, but there's so many other elements of diversity that are really valuable. The food, for instance.
Yeah, I really love that you're not, helping refugees in the way most people think we need to help by, donating stuff or educating them or whatever, but actually highlighting their existing skills and what they can bring to the societies where they arrive as well. So I think it's a wonderful example and case study of what a social enterprise is, as opposed to like an aid organization or something like that. All right. So actually, what we like to do in the show is to get to know the people behind the organizations, because of course, business model and everything is super important and interesting. But at the end of the day, we are also, human being deciding to dedicate part of our life to doing something good for the world, and we really want to celebrate that. And so I have a couple of more like behind the scene questions that I would love for you to answer, so that we can get to know you on a personal level. And one of that question actually is, so what is your ideal day look like? Not ideal in terms of, wonderful, but like what is your typical ideal day look like as social entrepreneurs?
Yeah. I think for both of us, but yeah, I'll speak for myself, to like spend some time outside, to drink good coffee, and what else?
Eat good food. Like to go for a surf out at the beach. Maybe watch some football. That's more me than Kareen. But yeah, just relaxing, spending time with friends, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and get to be creative. So if like in the context of the social enterprise itself, working with people to make the work that we make, or just like as an individual doing some photography or something, definitely makes me feel like it's been an ideal day.
Wonderful. So a lot of, outdoors and relaxing times. All right. I would love also for you to tell us what's your like the biggest personal change that you have made to make Companion and Co possible.
Personal change.
Getting married, I suppose.
So we met because of a mutual interest in engaging with refugees. A friend, our only friend in common at the time, introduced us, and we both had, and he was at the time also studied social enterprise in different ways. So at a postgraduate level, use our master's research as a vehicle for studying social enterprise, and then we got married after that. So
our master's studies was a vehicle of getting to know each other and dating each other. So the company wouldn't have happened without that.
But anyway, the biggest personal change for both of us of recent times was getting married and figuring out how to be married in life and to be partners in business as well.
It's funny actually, because it's the second time we host a couplepreneur, if I can call that this way. We had a couple of weeks ago the couple who co-founded the Cambio Market in Canada. It was really interesting how they also use their couple energy to partner in business and life. So that's interesting. And so if there were some people who hesitate to partner up with their partner or their husband or wife, or who are just at the beginning of that, what would be your advice to them, if any?
Well, I suppose we've only been doing it for just over a year now, so we're pretty fresh to it and are still learning. But
been learning to have conversations that are somewhat confrontational, so as to actually be clear about where you both stand. I think for both our personal lives and also in how we go about doing business, like figuring out how each of you work sometimes results in some, like, a little bit of tension, but it's important to be able to talk it out and learn how to do that in a way that's going to result in a valuable outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
wonderful.
A good place.
By the way, I see Caleb, you are live with us today, and a couple of people also following this episode as we record it. So feel free to let us know if you have questions as well for Kareen and Will. I'm really happy to voice your questions so that we can make this session very interactive. So yeah, if you have questions, just type them in the chat. And for those of you who will watch this video as a replay, you can also type the questions while you're watching the recording, and we'll make sure to get back to you as well. All right. So yeah, one thing I also wanted to ask you is, because I think it's super important when you're managing your own business. When do you feel the most fired up about the work that you do? Like, what's the piece that really gives you so much energy and make you want to move mountains?
For me, I'd say it's the personal interaction with the former refugees, going over to their houses, and sometimes being surprised with their incredible hospitality and being given so much food that I try my best to eat, and also just going over there and seeing what they have for me. Like one week I'll take over a piece of wood to give to one of the men, and then I come back the next week and he's created this incredible piece of art. And the first time that happened, that was just a real thrill for me, and I was totally inspired and inspired to keep moving and keep going. Yeah, it was great.
And I would say the same. Those encounters that you have around creating work in a collaborative way, cross-culturally, and never being able to really predict what different layers will evolve, and it's so amazing to get to work in such a way with people like this.
And you like the planning things.
Oh, and I like the planning and things.
So I see that you have different strong suits.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's also what, makes a collaboration great, when you get to, of course, you need to have some common grounds, but it's really cool when you get to have also different sets of skills and strong suits, so that, both sides can bring something onto the mix. Very cool. Another question I like to ask is, what's the biggest mistake you have made so far? Or maybe not like a mistake, but if you would, with what you know today, is there something you would have done differently if you had a magic wand or a time machine and you could go back a couple of months or years?
Potentially one of our biggest mistakes in terms of looking at our startup as like a lean startup model is that we didn't do much of kind of getting customer feedback and really approaching them and trying to find what the gap in the market was that they saw. I think that that kind of process didn't really work for us. We rather just kind of create items and products that we're really passionate about and care about, rather than trying to kind of arbitrarily fit a gap in the market. It didn't seem like that worked so well for us. Mm-hmm. So you could see that as a mistake, and who knows, maybe time will tell whether it works for us or not. But
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of a current toing and froing for us. A lot of people in social enterprise, at least in the New Zealand context, are really big on lean startup and very customer centric. I think we've interacted with the former refugees and migrants we're collaborating with in that way, in terms of like an ongoing relationship and lots of conversation about what's possible, but not the end user and as a customer. But yeah, we'll see. We're still figuring it out.
Yeah, there's still time to engage with customers and adapt and change what.
I see. Yeah, actually, Daniel and Daniel is the co-founder who's also hosting the Global Social Lab on Facebook, and with who I co-founded the Changemakers Association. And we've created a small guide called the 7 Top Mistakes we see the most in the social enterprise world. Because basically we've worked with her and me combined. We've worked with over 100 different social enterprises, and so like there are a few things we see over and over again, and so sometimes we're tired of repeating things, and so we've just combined everything into that guide. And definitely taking into account customers is one of the things we see can slow things down, especially when you're so in love with the solution and so in love with your product or with your cause or with the people you empower through that, which is of course a good thing, but it needs to be balanced with customers' expectation. And it's not a matter, I think it's not really about, some people can try to fit with what expectations there is or market gap or whatever, but it's mostly about integrating their own point of view and their own perspective in the way you communicate, in the way you tell your story, so that it really resonates with them. Which is always hard, because you have your own perspective into things and your own knowledge about why that's important and why you should be done this way, not that way and stuff. And sometimes it's hard to find the right words to explain things so that it makes sense on the other side of the table as well. But yeah, interesting that you have seen that as a potential something to work on, especially in the lean methodology when you just go out there and then adapt according to the results that you see. By the way, just a small note, we had a comment from Alisa who said, loved your comment about moving forward through brave communication. So I see that resonates with some of our viewers. Very cool. All right, so biggest mistake, and what's the best investment you have made in yourself or in your business? It doesn't have to be like money investment. It can be like time investment or something you've really done maybe differently than other people, and that really helped you move mountains.
I think not subscribing to a career path that others would see as being, I don't know, valuable and like progression. And I've certainly spent a lot of time not in paid work, like working jobs that I can have lots of flexibility and time to travel and explore, or like work in the studio and consider different approaches to making work and collaborating cross-culturally. At the expense, perhaps, of a career trajectory in other ways. But I think that it's been really worthwhile, and that we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. It would look very different if I hadn't spent that much time and energy in exchange for paid work to just think and explore.
Yeah, I'm probably the same. I think I've invested a lot in studying and traveling, and it hasn't got me ahead per se. Like in fact, I've got a large investment that I have to pay back now. But
student loans.
But I totally see it as worthwhile and valuable. And, not change anything.
Interesting. Actually, I'm curious because I saw that you guys studied social entrepreneurship, and so I'm wondering how much do you think that is helpful for your day-to-day entrepreneurial journey?
I don't think I learned any more. So I studied fashion. I did my postgrad as a way of exploring how to align fashion industries with kind of like the industry with my issues with it ethically, and to kind of move forward. So that's where I stumbled across even like the phrase social enterprise. I think I completed that like 6 or 7 years ago now. So it was the very beginning of exploring what this could look like. And I think I can't remember what I learned then versus what I've like picked up along the way through conversations and just observing how other people are doing things. So I think it's a good place to start, but that you kind of constantly build on it. And obviously your personal experience, like running a business and just like figuring out spreadsheets, etc., is always pretty different from university and like just kind of considering like an ethical ideal in a philosophical sense.
Whereas I studied development in terms of aid and development in developing countries, and perhaps some of the issues I saw in that industry, I saw a potential solution in social enterprise. In terms of kind of addressing market inequality and like structural change that needed to happen. So I think for both of us, we came from different disciplines and kind of stumbled across social enterprise as a potential solution to the issues we'd found. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I'm asking that because there are a number of people who are wondering if they have the right background to start their own social enterprise, and whether they should go back to studying and things like that. And I think it's always a good reminder to see that what you learn on the job is just 100 times like different and more helpful and that anything that you can study in theory, or at least that's how I feel. All right, so like we are getting closer to the end of our interview. I would really love to know. So, what's your next move with Companion and Co? Like, what are you looking at creating or developing now? What's your focus for the coming months or year?
So at the moment, we're just fulfilling the orders from our Kickstarter campaign. So just getting the products made and then sending them out. And then I think from there, we'd really like to go into more of a creative phase. It's almost like we've come full circle again, and we come back to the start to kind of create a new product or adapt the product we have now.
And to further explore who we can collaborate with, and even the skills that those we're currently co-creating with have that we haven't yet actually been able to see through to their full potential, and maybe continue that conversation around how customer-centric to be in the design process, etc. I think figuring out our design process is probably one of the biggest things moving forward creatively for us to consider and resolve. Yeah.
Okay. We actually got a question from Scott, who's also a Kiwi. And he's asking, do you work with the refugees to help them find markets and channels for their products? Or do you have a portal for them to channel the goods through?
We're probably working with the refugees to create a product, and then I think we probably work on finding the channels to market those products.
So I think primarily we're just trying to generate some like meaningful employment opportunities for some of the former refugees that are here. But then opportunities definitely arise that are like outside of our product that they potentially could work on, and so we become a bit of an in-between then. But our primary objective being to develop some product design that can be a platform for their work that we're then seeing through to completion, isn't like and then getting to the end customer and marketing. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And actually, because you mentioned the Kickstarter campaign you've run recently, I'm curious to know, how did that work for you guys, and what was the, like, maybe a learning or something that you can share with other members of the lab who, might be running crowdfunding campaigns at the moment, or who are planning to run one eventually?
I think we found that Facebook was a really good medium for us to promote that. It was by far the most successful kind of medium to use.
I think it was a really good way for us to resolve some kind of issues that we hadn't had to really face in terms of production and just ironing lots of things out in quite a short space of time. But it's still, it also gives you an excuse to really, and a push to really communicate with people outside of your personal network. So it's a chance for your personal networks to really support you, and ours did. It was incredible. So especially through Facebook. But then also there's actually a specific story for people to tell in media and that sort of thing outside of your community. So those two things, I think, make it really worthwhile. It always felt like it would be disappointing if we didn't reach our goal, but that even just the process of creating a Kickstarter campaign and the work that has to go into it would just be really beneficial for us developing what we're trying to achieve and how to do that. So, and fortunately we reached our goal, and yeah, we're really blessed by people's support as well as the experience that was gained. Yeah.
Congratulations on that then. All right. How can someone in our community support you or help you, or is there something, because now you're done with the Kickstarter campaign and I'm sure, like you mentioned, you're working on sending out the rules, but for whatever next step, like, is there something we can do for you? And or is there something you would love to give or help about, like if someone have question about something specific, like what would be the help you'd love to give?
I think actually the Kickstarter really shed light on how challenging it is to connect with people outside of those who already know you. So even I think the thing that we can give and the thing that would be great to receive within this kind of community is just following what each other is doing on social media and sharing and like pushing what each other's doing out into our own networks as well is just so valuable and really hard to achieve without the support of others.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got a Facebook profile, Companion & Co, and also the website, companionandco.com, that you can check out. We've got all the products up there, and we also do a bit of a blog just to kind of share some thoughts and ideas that we've been thinking about. So it'd be cool for people to engage with that.
Cool. Yeah, I'll post the link after we finish our chat so that people can find it easily, both so your Facebook page and then the website. Are you guys active on Instagram or other social media, or is Facebook your number one go-to place?
I think Instagram is our number one, actually.
Yeah, that's interesting. I see that shift, because a couple of years ago it was really Facebook was like the social media. And then now with the algorithm and the fact that, even when you post something, only a couple of people see it, and you feel like, oh my God, so much work for so little visibility. And now Instagram has much more engagement. So it's interesting that you guys are using it as well as a number. So I'll post your profile and I'll start following you on Instagram as well. And especially because you are product based, like it's such a great, because Instagram is all about beautiful pictures more than Facebook would be more about like content or things. So it's so cool if you can showcase your product and the behind the scenes of who are doing the product as well. Yeah, I think it's the perfect platform. It's a bit harder for us because we are like service based. So
you just went silent.
And chats like that. So like we have less things to show. But I think Instagram is an important and interesting platform to explore for all social entrepreneurs. Because even when you're service based, there is always a story to tell. So guys, when you're watching this episode, please go to the Instagram of Companion & Co. and also post your Instagram, because I want to follow all of you and let's follow each other and grow our community based on the cool people that are part of this lab. All right, so I think we are close to the end. Do you have any final word for our community, or one last thing you want to share, or something you wish I would have asked and I didn't?
No, I can't think of anything. Thanks for your time. Just encouraging everyone to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
All right, very cool. Thank you so much, guys, for coming and taking the time to be with us today. Once again, I'll post all your links in the chat of this video, and then I'll keep you posted if we have other questions that come after the broadcast, because I know not everyone could be attending live, especially our friends in America, North and South, who are sleeping. right now. But yeah, it was a pleasure to have you. And congratulations again on the awesome project that you have put together. Congratulations on your Kickstarter campaign. And we look forward to see how things go for you guys. Keep us updated as well. We love to, hear some news about the people we host in the show. And yeah, have a wonderful evening, and see you around.
Cheers.
Bye.
All right. Oops.